Hola. Okay, I think we're here. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Everybody a chance to join up, get settled. Some interesting stuff so far today. Okay, I thought I lost everything for a second. I was like, oh, that sucks. Right. Interesting stuff so far for today. Things are still coming up about Matthew Crooks. Things like supposedly, I haven't read the full article. We're going to read it together, but supposedly they had a MAGA sign outside and something about both of them being MAGA, at least I think in 2016 or something. So something's going on. Something, I don't know. Something's brewing. And then there's also some new video that I seen for the first time that you can see this guy. He looks weird as hell. We're going to check it out. And he's just wandering the grounds like by himself. He's not even like mixed in a group of people. This dude is just like around the building, kind of like looking up, like looking around, kind of like eyeing stuff, whatever. He sticks out like a sore thumb, like as if Big Bird was walking out there by himself and inspecting the building. I couldn't believe this shit. We're gonna check that out. And a couple other things, because now they're saying too that the parents, I think hours before the rally had started, were concerned and worried about Matthew and that he was missing and stuff. And at some point they called the cops. Makes me think of almost Ethan Crumley and his parents. I really wonder what the history is. Like, the parents had to know there was something up with this kid for them to be worried like that. So, and then also there's the Secret Service we're going to get into, the slopes again, more interviews, all that stuff. So I hope you guys are doing good. If you hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. And, well, we'll start with some of the online funny stuff I've seen so far. There's a lot of people kind of making fun of Trump and his ear patch. And then here it says in quotes, Trump's ear bandage was so unnecessary. The ear bandage thing, listen, I saw a doctor reply, because a lot of people are making fun, they're putting on their stuff, whatever. But a doctor replied and said that supposedly she claims that they needed to do that whole thing to support it. Like, that's how they do it. They weren't just going to put like a little tip bandage thing or something like that, is what one lady said. And as far, this will kind of lead us a little bit into the whole slopes thing somewhat. They didn't want to put Secret Service on a sloped roof because of security concerns. So they secured it from inside. Amazing. Isn't that amazing? Remember that?
When you saw the events unfold on Saturday?
Shock, and then concern, obviously, for the former president.
Investigators now trying to determine whether roof access had been properly locked down. The shooter climbing up seemingly unimpeded. About 400.
Hey, remember yesterday we talked, he had like I think it was like was that a 6-foot or a 12-foot ladder or something? I don't remember the size, but
feet from the stage.
Walked like a mile from Home Depot.
With a direct line of sight on the former president.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
From inside. Bruh. What? So, of course, there's memes. U.S. Secret Service director's biggest nightmare. It's like this huge slope. Oh, man, somebody did this picture. I didn't even see this before. Wow. Somebody got a picture of a cow on a roof, I guess. The cow has bested the Secret Service. Wow. Secret Service. She's declined to resign. She's not going to resign. Oh, look, emergency broadcast. Secret Service director slope roof. Excuse collapses. Let's do this at the end. These two. We'll do these two at the end. Move that to the end. I think let's just continue with the Secret Service topic.
Understand the constraints that they're under, and as.
All right, breaking just moments ago, we just learned the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General has opened an investigation into how the Secret Service secured the campaign rally where there was an attempt on Donald Trump's life. The FBI also investigating the incident. CNN also has an exclusive interview with the Secret Service director. CNN's Whitney Wild's been on top of all of this, joins us now. Good morning, Whitney.
Good morning.
Good morning, John. This is a notable development in what will be a long list of investigations.
And by the way, I even forgot. Yesterday, I'm going to have to check into that. The RNC, the Republican convention that's going on, they found somebody with an AK around the area. RNC, AK-47 yesterday. I think the person was arrested. Man wearing a ski mask and armed with an AK-47 pistol. Okay, arrested. This was yesterday. Let me see if there's any updates on... Oh, here's his picture. I never saw a picture of the guy. Okay, this was yesterday. I don't know if it had anything to do with Trump, but let's get a big screen on the perp. 21 years old. He faces misdemeanor charge. That's all they get? Misdemeanor charge for carrying a concealed weapon near the RNC. His name is Donald Tinsley. According to the criminal complaint, a Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent and U.S. Capitol Police were patrolling Republican National Convention, the exterior Zone 1. While driving north on 11th Street near Highland in Milwaukee, they spotted a man wearing black pants, long-sleeve tan sweatshirt, black gloves, oh wow, ski mask, and carrying a large black tactical backpack, the complaint says. The man was walking away from the RNC security checkpoint. The special agent noticed the backpack was hanging low on the individual and seemed as if it were heavy. Wow. The special agent pulled up next to the defendant, identified as Tinsley, and began a conversation. The complainant says the agent noticed Tinsley's hands were shaking, and Tinsley began to look left and right. Paranoid as F. The agent noticed a bulge in the defendant's waistband. When Tinsley was asked if he had a firearm, he said, "No, I have nothing, sir." Then said, "You can check me. Go ahead. Look." After a pat-down of Tinsley, the complainant says he consented to the search of his backpack. When the agent opened the bag, he immediately spotted a concealed AK-47 pistol in the backpack. The special agent asked if he had a concealed carry permit. He stated he did not. He was then taken into custody. If he had a permit, maybe they wouldn't have taken him in. But it seems like he was trying to get into the convention. I don't know. The complainant says another search of the defendant's backpack was completed. Inside, located a fully loaded magazine containing 7.62 by 39 caliber rifle ammunition. Also located inside the bag was a Scream movie mask, a flashlight, 2 sets of black gloves, rubber fingertips, a pair of sunglasses, an Allied Universal Security uniform shirt, 2 cans of spray paint, and multiple empty designer marijuana bags. His initial court appearance is on Wednesday. Today. I wonder if that's all he's going to get, a slap on the wrist. Will they investigate him? Was it related? Was it unrelated? Was he just trying to sell shit? Donald Tinsley. So we'll keep an eye out for that guy.
You said that local law enforcement was responsible for that building. What did you mean by that?
So Secret Service respects local law enforcement, and we could not do our job either investigatively or on our protective mission without them. In Pennsylvania, in fact, on that same day, they were also working the First Lady trip and a vice presidential trip. So I understand the constraints that they're under, and as I said earlier, we couldn't do our job without them. At that particular site, we divided up areas of responsibility, but the Secret Service is solely responsible for the design and the implementation and the execution of the site. And that's what I was trying to stress, was that we just divided up areas of responsibility, and they provided support to those areas of responsibility.
And you mentioned the First Lady's also event in Pittsburgh. You guys have a lot of areas to cover. Were any assets diverted from the former president's rally to her detail?
No, there were no assets from the Secret Service that were diverted at all.
Okay, so no one swapped out any of the posts, for example?
No.
Okay. CNN, of course, has reporting that the Secret Service increased security for former President Trump because of a credible threat from Iran. I've spoken with several people who look at the perimeter, hearing that news, look at the perimeter and say, how, knowing that there was a credible threat against the former president, how could that perimeter be so small that it excluded a building just 150 yards away from the podium?
I can't get into the specifics of any threats.
Of course you can't. But the other thing that's coming up too is that they're saying that there was a water tower. I have one of the clips. We'll get to that, and we'll get to the video of this guy walking around. But yeah, they said there was a water tower, and people were saying that tactically they could have had people up in that water tower watching the whole thing below. Rachel, thank you for the 12 months. You made it. Technically, this is a year, right? Whoop. Yes, and I have new member badges coming. I'm going to run it by you guys first. I have this guy making them. It's going to be dope, I hope. So I'll run it by you guys when we get there. I think it's going to take about a week. Good vibes, Stace. Thank you for the 8 months. As Hi Mel and all my Icky friends. Thank you so much. Thank you for the memberships. Really helps out the channel. Appreciate your support.
But obviously, with all of our protectees, we're constantly monitoring the threats that are out there, and we design our security plan based on that, also depending on the venue and the environment that we're in. And on that particular day, a full advance had been completed, but this is also why we are doing an internal review, and we look forward to the external review as well. And obviously, if there are things that we need to change about our policies or our procedures or our methods, we are certainly going to do so.
Was that perimeter too small?
The perimeter encompassed the area that we needed to secure for the event that we had on that day. What happened is a terrible incident and should never happen, and we are obviously going to make sure that moving forward, we take whatever lessons that come out of this and adjust accordingly.
Was every element, every part of his, from the intelligence to the counter-assault team, to the detail agents, to the shift agents, I mean every element, top to bottom, of the advance in the operation, was every element increased after you learned of this credible threat?
What we increased was what we felt was appropriate for the former president and for that particular event on that day. We have been increasing the assets and the resources and the staffing that we have been providing to the former president since he was a presidential candidate and then the presumptive nominee. That's what I can tell you.
That sounds like a no.
I am not saying a no at all. I'm saying that we have continued to increase the resources that we've been providing to the former president.
Director Cheadle told us that she did speak with the agents and officers who responded, telling them that in what would be the most difficult moment for any Secret Service agent or officer's career, in that moment, those men and women who were there on scene did their job flawlessly.
I saw somewhere, too, that supposedly there was like 2 cops that were at the rally that weren't supposed to be there. Did they get fired or something? 2 cops fired. Trump rally. I don't know if that's true. I thought I saw it somewhere. See if I can. Secret Service was told police could not watch the building used by Trump rally shooter. Okay, I'll have to look for that. I thought I saw somewhere, but I didn't get to confirm it.
Back to you.
Yeah, well, we'll find out with this Inspector General report and the number of investigations that now seem to be ongoing. Whitney Weil, great reporting. Thank you very much. Sarah?
Again, we are following this breaking news where the Department of Homeland Security's Inspector General has opened an investigation into how the Secret Service secured the Trump campaign rally. But what is learning that would trigger this kind of warning that there is a much more heightened threat during these very volatile campaign times?
Well, to begin with is of course, the Iranian threat. Although we don't know any details about the vintage, the reliability, validity of the human source in question, was it corroborated? I think now the concern is, will there be copycat attempts in sort of retaliation against the attempt against former President Trump? So this would, I think, infer a potential heightened threat to the president and others in the administration, as you have.
This guy's a former director of national intelligence.
Copycats or those who feel that they have to retaliate for the attempt against President Trump. So this, by however you measure it, represents a growing threat.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be some type of copycats. People feel they can do better, that are going to be interested in this. You guys want to take a look at this video shit? Let's just jump into this real quick because I saw it pop up on my screen. There's new footage of Thomas Crooks looking like a complete weirdo, just walking around like nothing. Oh, let's take a look at this. This is new, just surfacing. Let's get the big screen. Check this out. Look at it. They couldn't find this guy. They couldn't spot him. Look at him. He's like surveying the area, looking for vulnerabilities, seeing who's where the sniper's at. Who knows what he's doing? Look, he might be right by the building. It says 1 hour plus before. So we've already read and heard articles talk about that The cops had spotted him almost 30 minutes before, that suspicious, and then they lost track of him, and they even took pictures. Now this one here, this video is claiming an hour before they see him kind of walking around looking weird as hell. So multiple people are posting this video. Oh, what all these posts are under there. Oh, I guess everybody's posting stuff under there. I've seen that video flying around a couple times. And this is from a post, supposedly Fox. 40 minutes before the shots, Crooks is spotted again by Secret Service with the last known photo of him taken alive. The new footage shows him suspiciously walking around before attempting to assassinate Trump. That is crazy. That's crazy.
I am curious to see if that is ginned up by what we're seeing online with the blaming of Democrats, which there's no evidence at all of that. The person who did this attempted assassination was a registered Republican. But you're hearing on the stage as well from some of the Republican leaders using the word they cannot take him out. They tried to kill him, inferring that it's the Democrats. Is this something that would create an even more heightened threat because of what leaders are also saying?
Well, yes, it would. That's why it would really be good if everyone would abide by the appeals made by both President Biden and former President Trump to tone down the rhetoric, to cool it. And so, given the nature of polarization in this country and the wild conspiracies on social media, that sort of rhetoric just feeds that, and I think heightens the intensity of resentment on the part.
Okay, we'll move on. I found something else that was pretty funny. This is the Secret Service at Trump's rally. This is how they were running it over there. That's why a lot of people were able to just get through. Oh, this is like a little too big. Bro, security. What is he doing? What kind of shit is this? He's doing Ricky, right? This what's that thing? You don't have to touch the person and you do spiritual healing or some shit. Reiki. Andrew Tate has some thoughts about the Secret Service director not taking any kind of accountability.
Bro, I know the meme is that everyone says women can't take accountability.
Oh, God.
But the female head of the Secret Service is really on fucking TV telling Americans that she's done nothing wrong and that it's not her fault that the fucking president got shot. That's your job. And any man in your position would stand up and take absolute accountability and say he was wrong and resign and admit his mistakes. You're standing up there going, well, that roof was sloped and it wasn't my job. Who gives these fucking people power? Who gives these people power? They have no fucking humility. The hubris they operate under is disgusting. And if President Trump was dead right now, there'd be a civil war undertaken in America, and she'd be sitting in her fucking chair on her fat ass saying, well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. The roof was sloped. Who the fuck is this bimbo? Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. Andrew.
Secret Service Cheadle, appointed by Mayorkas, the head of the Secret Service, arrogantly came out today in a press release in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, you name it. We'll put a link below. And said, oh, we didn't put Secret Service on the roof 450 feet away from Trump at the police command center because the roof was slanted. It was dangerous. We're talking about a roof like this, folks. Absolute total crap for these politically correct bastards. They ordered the stand down. They've been caught red-handed. And the whole world is waking up to the fact they did this. So they didn't cover the roof, the number one thing you cover, and they politically correct say it's dangerous for our Secret Service professionals to be on a metal roof that's at this angle. I mean, these people are beyond dangerous and disgusting, and they know exactly what they did. They cut Trump's Secret Service back to nothing, and then had their advance team say, well, it's not safe to have anybody on the roofs, so we're not going to have them up on the roofs. And then it's a farming center, community center, metal roof. I mean, this house right here we're staying in has a much bigger angle to it. It's totally safe to sit up on top of. I've roofed many houses like this. So this house we're staying in has a roof peaked like that. This is like this. And it's the political correct safety. Well, that's why there wasn't even on the roof. We gave the order. And oh, by the way, I refused to step down. The arrogance of Mayorkas, huge human trafficking, fentanyl.
Ooh, Julio said, shut up and pay the $1 billion fine. I thought I heard he was like liquidating stuff too, right? Or something. Let me see. What is he doing? Alex Jones. Liquidating. Let's see. I thought I read somewhere. It was Alex Jones' personal assets to be sold to pay $1.5 billion Sandy Hook debt. Wow, that's a lot. Company bankruptcy is dismissed. Lord almighty.
Sex slavery, children being used as young as 10 years old in factory slavery. And he's like, hey, I'm from Cuba. I'm a liberal. I can run sex slaves if I want.
The hell are you talking about?
The Secret Service is a woman. And we've got these fat women that can't put guns in their holsters, so it's okay.
I didn't listen to this before.
That is what this whole diversity movement's about, is the excuse of incompetence when really it's the default fraud. Be able to carry out whatever they want against this country. The hundreds of thousands of fentanyl deaths, World War III, you name it. It is a disgusting group of criminals. The good news is no one is buying this right now. And people see right through this. We got members of Congress, all these former special operations people, sniper experts, all going public saying this was default turned off. Yes, it was a stand down. It wasn't incompetence. And these people are so arrogant. She actually came out and said, hey, I'm not stepping down. The roof was dangerous. I did it. I said nobody on the roof. You know, they put people on the roof for Joe Biden. So this is an incredible moment with these people. They're so arrogant. They keep doubling down. I can smell victory, but they're going to stage false flags. They're going to try to kill Trump again. So we have to have maximum effort to expose the fact that they're the criminals. They're the terrorists. I'll be on the radio tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central at Real Alex Jones on X.
By the way, I think Trump's speaking tomorrow. I do want to stream that. Tomorrow's Thursday. I think it's Thursday. He's supposed to speak officially for like the first time. So I'm really curious to see what he's going to have to say. People are saying that he's going to have a message of unity, and I'm sure he's going to probably speak on the shooting. And I don't know. I'm really curious to see what he has to say about all this stuff. Again, really quick thank you to the members. Dr. Edward Moskowitz, which I know is Julie. Thanks so much for the 17 months. I appreciate you. We should catch up. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mel and Mods. Emmy, thank you for the 19 months. Love you, Mel. Thank you so much, Emmy. And TT Cross, longtime members. Ride or Die. Thank you, Mel, for your coverage. Thanks for what you do. I come to you instead of the news station. Much love. Thank you. By the way, completely unrelated. It's Amazon. Today's the last day for Amazon Prime Day. Or Amazon, what do they call it? Prime Day? Amazon something. I think it's Prime Day called, right? Amazon Prime. So if you're going to buy something, do it before the end of the day. Time is running out. There's a bunch of sales. I haven't even looked at it yet. I might look at it, but I'm not trying to spend a bunch. I'm just going to, if I need something, I'll buy it. I'm not going to go crazy. That's what they want you to do. Go crazy. Anyway, Alex Jones posted this. Historic video. Deep State calls for Trump to be impeached, imprisoned, and killed. This is from 2017. I listened to some of this and I was shocked. I was like, what?
If he takes the risk of going to trial and he's convicted, that could be seen as an impeachable offense.
I don't see how that wouldn't be an impeachable offense.
That tweet fits the Republican definition of an impeachable offense. Where do you see an impeachable offense?
It is grounds for impeachment.
Potentially criminal or even impeachable.
Grounds for impeachment.
You may scapegoat Andy McCabe, but you will not destroy America. America will triumph over you. That apparently directed toward the President of the United States.
The impeachment stuff, yes, but the kill stuff?
Is it impeachable?
100% is impeachable.
Very substantial evidence that the president is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
As a former government official, government's going to kill this guy.
Impeachment's not good enough for Trump. He needs to be imprisoned and placed in solitary confinement. But for now, impeachment is the imperative.
That's right.
I ask you tonight.
Is with so many people knowing about this, it's interesting, and I'm kind of proud to say this, it took a member of the intelligence community to step up and bring it forward.
It's hard to imagine a set of circumstances that would have alarmed the founders more than what's on that call.
Oh, that's Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff actually is telling, what came out today is he's telling Biden to step down officially. He wants Biden out of it. He said hand over the torch.
Where you have a president using the full power of his office to try to effectively coerce.
Oh, yeah. KOSS. If you could email me at ikkenmel@gmail.com. She says her husband has been around the RNC Monday and Tuesday. He has some footage and pics. He also watches you. You might be willing to link up. I know he is planning on going tomorrow. Yeah, email me at ikkenmel@gmail.com, or if you want to DM me on Twitter.
A foreign leader that is completely dependent on our country for military, economic, diplomatic, and other support to intervene in our election to help his campaign.
Talk about pressuring a foreign country to interfere with and control a U.S. election. It couldn't be clearer. And that's not just undermining democracy.
Okay, I want to see this one.
Let me give you one bottom line. As a former government official, government's going to kill this guy.
And the donor class can't just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump.
Bro! What? I never heard these little clips I never heard before.
And that's a fact.
You take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back.
So if you mess with the intelligence, he's telling you, this is Schumer. They have all kinds of ways they can F with you.
You take on the intelligence community. They have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
No disagreeing with them, or else they screw you. They bend you over. And again, for the new people that just joined, we'll just look at this again real quick. There's new footage that's been released. Okay, I saw this earlier. My mouth dropped right before the stream, and I'm like, yo, we got to watch it together. They're saying that there's video of the shooter walking around by himself, looking up at the rooftops near Trump. Bro. And according to this video, the caption says an hour before, bro. I mean, I believe it now. Now I believe it because the whole report of cops saw this guy even 30 minutes before, and they were like kind of concerned, and he was suspicious, and they took pictures of him. I think 2 pictures, and they lost him. And look at this guy. He's not even like blended in with the crowd. That's what gets me. He sticks out like a sore thumb. He might as well be wearing a Big Bird costume. And he's suspicious as F. They couldn't nab this guy before he shot at Trump. Maybe people thought he was like a worker or something. I don't know. Oh, chaos. Thank you for that. Okay. There's just so many things that keep coming out, you know, because I'm not really conspiracy, but a lot of the stuff is questionable. It is questionable. At first, it was like, okay, you know, what did they say first? Like a couple seconds or something like that. Then they said, okay, 2 minutes. We could track it back to 2 minutes. Now it's like we could track it back to 26, 30 minutes. Now it's according to this, an hour. Oh, man. I don't know. I guess he got lucky, or there's some serious lapses in security. And I think anybody within our own country that's looking at this, that hates Trump, that wants to get at him, they're probably looking at this like, damn, it's that easy. He's sweet. It's an easy lick. And then especially overseas, the people that hate him overseas or whoever wants to take him out, they might just send one person in. Wow, that's how the Secret Service rolls? Really? At least around Trump. I don't know about Biden. He probably has more, you know, security and stuff. But can't get over that, man. Can't get over that. You emailed me? Okay. That's just so wild to me, man. Nice. Okay, I got to reply to that one. Chaotic amateurs. This is from the Sun.
Close as he did onto the roof.
Okay, your video shows witnesses learning Trump shooter as ex-M16 agent blast Secret Service. All right, we'll check that out. I'll add it to the list. That looks interesting. Okay, more news. I haven't read this full article, but my I don't know, my spidey senses. So this is a TMZ article that just came out, literally, I guess a couple hours ago. That's Pacific time, so 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, about an hour and a half ago, something like that, Eastern. So it says, Donald Trump's presidential campaign once profiled the father of attempted assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks, identifying the guy as a strong Republican who was into guns. What? They're saying he had like a Trump sign outside of the house. What is going on? Trump 2016 campaign amassed a database of millions of voters in swing states, and Matthew Brian Crooks was one of them. I'm assuming that's his father. With Trump's team determining he was a likely gun owner and hunter who would favorably respond to pro-gun rights messaging, according to the data first obtained and revealed by UK's Channel 4 News. Bruh! The mystery deepens. I almost wonder if this kid just hated his parents. Maybe his parents were, conservative or voted for Trump or whatever. Maybe he loathed them, hated them. This was his way back. I don't know. Bizarre. The would-be assassin's mother was profiled by Trump's 26 campaign too, apparently. And she was also identified as a likely gun owner by campaign researchers, which they had if you've been following, they had a bunch of guns in the house. And the gun that he used was his father's gun. And get this, Trump's campaign database assigned scores to each of the 6.7 million Pennsylvania voters analyzed ahead of the 2016 election, with the shooter's father scoring among the top 20 in their Bethel Park hometown in terms of pro-gun related indicators. I didn't even know they had that kind of data. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know. I guess they collect everything on us. They got all our information, Crooks' father legally purchased an AR-15 rifle his son used in Saturday's assassination attempt, and TMC reportedly bought 50 bullets from a gun store the morning. Thomas Matthew Crooks. So he lived with his parents. No surprise there. Well, he was young too, but and a neighbor told WPXI the Crooks family had pro-Trump and MAGA yard signs until recently. So when this happened, I'm thinking they probably said, "Oh, I'm taking the signs down," or whatever. It's unclear if the seemingly pro-Trump affiliation applied to Thomas himself, but on its face, it sounds like his parents like Donald Trump. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? We're all profiled. That's true. They just collect their information. That's the one thing I kind of hate about, like, when you register to vote, like they put your information online, and I've seen in cases a lot of times they'll put your address online, and then to try to get that information removed, oh, it's a bitch. They don't even reply. That's one of the things I really dislike about that. But the shooter's ex-classmates said he was nicknamed the school shooter and would get bullied in class, which TMZ did post some videos. But I could hardly say that video that we saw where the girl was pulling on his leg. They said that was bullying. I mean, he was laughing. I don't know what. Maybe this day and age that's bullying. These kids are I don't know. But he would get bullied in class, and he was such a poor shot he couldn't make his school's rifle team, and we covered that as well. They said those snipers and a lot of the experts, they said that shot was such an easy shot. There was one sniper guy that we watched, and he was I thought he said he told the anchors, I could get you guys, put blindfolds on you and just point you in the direction or something, and you could hit the shot or something. He just said it's a really, really easy shot. This guy missing was just luck and Trump turning his face at the last second. Yeah, I saw the Blackwater ad. I don't know who Blackwater is, though. What is Blackwater? So he was dubbed the school shooter. I used to work with this guy at the hospital. When I used to work at the hospital, that he clearly had some mental issues, and we would kind of joke that if anybody ever shoots this place up, it could be this guy. We used to kind of joke, but at the same time, I felt like what could we do? Because the employer knew about it, and he was a pharmacist, and I think they were worried about him suing them, so they put up with his shit for a long time. He used to come in trench coats. He used to wear sunglasses and shit and a hat. I'm talking about wearing a pharmacy environment. You know, either our scrubs or like the pharmacists wear their lab coats. This boy was coming in a trench coat, and then he would be riding up and down the elevators, up and down, sometimes he just stays in there, just up and down, just stay in the elevator, just pressing the button up and down, riding with the. At one point, they made, I think, some patients or some visitors made a complaint. They were kind of like concerned. The dude was just on the fucking elevator. And then at one point, too, they complained about him in the cafeteria. This guy that I used to work with, his name was, I remember his name, Dennis. I think it was Dennis. And I remember one of my coworkers would joke around and be like, those are the people you'd be nice to. And he was like, you give them a Snickers or something, because the day that comes, maybe they'll let you go or something. I don't know. So I remember that guy. But eventually, he kept getting into trouble with people. And then and at one point they sent him to work from home. So he was working from home for the most part, and he would come in a few days. And then at one point he got called into the director's office, and the dude fucking snapped. Like he threw a chair or some shit. They had to call security. They got his ass out. And we all kind of thinking like, what if this guy comes back? So this information here with this article is really interesting and bizarre. Okay, again, they're saying the parents were like strong Republicans. Seems like it, they're in a database. They had a sign outside of their house. So what's the deal with this kid? What in the hell? And he was registered Republican, but he made a donation to I forgot, some PAC that was for the Democrats. I wonder if he really, like, you know, some kids, they just gravitate to what their parents are into, and they don't necessarily feel that themselves, maybe. Or maybe he did. I don't know. But they don't feel that themselves, and they're just going along with the motions even though they don't want to, and inside hating them or something. He meant Black Rock people, not Black Water. Eric Prince owns Blackwater. I know him for creating secret no-trace cell phones. He's much more. Oh, it's a huge military contractor that the governor uses and charges us way too much money. Interesting. So yeah, this stuck out to me. This whole story, this weird stuff that keeps unraveling with this kid. What is this? Oh, this is okay. This is the article. This is the source of the information. Trump campaign secret data on gunman's family. Very interesting. Likely a gun owner and a hunter. This is the database. Okay. Both parents were very likely to be gun owners and shared other gun-related lifestyle indicators. The program can now reveal the information was compiled as part of a secretive project aiming to identify millions of gun owners in America who could be targeted with pro-gun rights messages in the lead up to 2016. All right. The father's 53 years old. His family is cooperating with the investigation. All right. We read all this already. Matthew Crooks scored highly across a range of gun-related models, including 0.99 for the likelihood of returning a warranty card for a firearm purchase. Okay. All right. Now this is where they're talking about Thomas Matthew, his parents called law enforcement. Well, Colin here says before the rally. I think there's a little bit of confusion. We'll listen to what she says. They had realized he was missing. before the rally. And I'm not sure exactly what time they called. They called the same day.
Shooter Thomas Crooks' parents were looking for him in the hours leading up to the shooting. We're now told they eventually called law enforcement to report that Crooks was missing, and they were worried. And they also were told, those parents are now being cooperative now with the...
They were worried.
Parents were looking for him in the hours leading up to the shooting.
In the hours leading up to the shooting, they were looking for him. I feel like that in itself kind of like makes me think like they knew something was off with this kid. And then almost like the Crumleys, I don't know what time that day they called the police, but like almost like the Crumleys, like they knew their kid had issues, and then they noticed at some point the guns were missing, and so then they called the police.
We're now told they eventually called law enforcement to report that Crooks was missing, and they were worried. And they also were told, those parents are now being cooperative now with authorities, but they gave them the heads up that something's going on with our son. We are worried. We don't know the texture or the details of their concerns. So in other words, well, were they worried that he had a gun? Were they worried? What were they worried about? Were they worried that he was going to try to attempt to kill a citizen?
I think my thought hoax is I think those parents, once the shooting went down, I mean, I guess we're just basing the source is the neighbor, right? But I think that those parents, just my theory, I think the shooting went down. They got nervous. They knew their kid was a problem, and the gun's missing. This kid's a fucking weirdo, and the shooting happened early. I think they just thought like we need to remove these MAGA signs. Maybe after all this shit to happen.
Sitting president, and then go ahead and turn into an assassin and kill another person and injure two others. It was an attempted assassination on Trump, but he managed to murder anyway. Are we talking about that? What were they giving the cops a heads up about? This is the first time we are hearing this. We'll stay on the story and we will bring you the details.
Yeah, what are they giving the cops a heads up about? It really makes you think of the Crumleys. Like the Crumleys knew with Ethan, the school shooter, something was up with him. The kid was hearing voices and stuff, and drawing pictures of guns. And this kid, so far with this one, we haven't seen any of that though. Supposedly no trace of social media, which is so freaking weird for a 20-year-old. No trace of social media. So far, they haven't figured out any kind of political affiliation besides what's mentioned, registered as whatever, but it's odd. Very odd. Jack Black canceled. By the way, do you think Jack Black should have got canceled? The real reason Jack Black canceled the Tenacious D tour after bandmate Kyle Gass' inappropriate, dangerous comments about Trump got canceled. Take a look at that in a second. Let me see. Is there anything in here? Okay. It follows another stunning development that the 20-year-old gunman was at the former president's rally 3 hours before opening fire. What? Was at the former president's rally 3 hours before opening gunfire. Bombshell new report claims. So the parents of Donald Trump's would-be assassin, Thomas Matthew Crooks, called the cops to say he was missing before the shooting. So they're saying before. It follows another stunning report that the 20-year-old gunman was at the former president's rally 3 hours before the opening fire and sparked the suspicions of the Secret Service because he was carrying a range finder used by hunters to take long shots. I didn't even know what that was. I was wondering what that was. Range finder. Yeah, Destiny got banned on Kick. Yes, sir. Range finder. Oh, okay. It's like that. I'll show you a picture, I guess. Range finder. I guess you point it and it tells you the range. Maybe is that what it is? Range finder. You point it at whatever distance you want. or whatever, a certain object or a person or whatever, and it tells you the range. Oh, shit. Like a spotter, maybe? Okay. This is wild. So, suspicions of the Secret Service because he was carrying a rangefinder used by hunters to take long shots. Crooks' parents called law enforcement in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania to say they were concerned about their son's whereabouts. Fox News report. He climbed onto a roof and shot Trump and all that. Oh, by the way, I think I mentioned it. Crooks worked at a nursing facility. Let's see. Crooks told his boss that he needed the day off from work on Saturday and gave colleagues a final message that he would be back on Sunday. I don't know what's chilling about that. Final chilling message. That's not chilling. I'll be back, even though he was never planning on coming back. Secret Service agents rushed Trump. Let's see. That's pretty cool. I'm actually really surprised about that too, that Kick banned Destiny, because what he said was crappy, and I don't condone that, but at the same time, I've seen people do way worse stuff on Twitch. You know, like physical stuff to people. Kick, sorry, Kick. Thank you. Keep the new post. USA, 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 USA. Love you, Trump.
Did you know?
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm trying to find the one you were talking about where they said his parents called an hour before. Let me see. His father had told, I'll get to that in a second too. His father had told law enforcement that he assumed his son had gone to the shooting range at the Clariton Sportsman Club to practice with his rifle, and he would be back by 1 p.m. on Saturday. But as the time went on and he grew more concerned and phoned local law enforcement. At around 3 p.m. on Saturday, Crooks was spotted at the rally's security screening area. So the rally started at 6:05. So this is where people talking about like he was there 3 hours before. At around 3 p.m. on Saturday, Crooks was spotted at the rally security screening area. He tried to pass through the metal detectors with the rangefinder, which is used by shooters to measure the distance. The device, which looks like a small pair of binoculars, would not have prevented him getting into the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, but did put him on the radar. Okay. The Secret Service watched him, but lost track of Crooks when he left the secure area. He is then believed to have collected a rifle he used to shoot Trump, kill rally attendee and wound others from his car, which also contained a bulletproof vest and 2 explosive devices. So But I heard about the explosive device too. Like I heard it was an IED, and on his body on the roof, he had like a remote detonator. TMZ posted an hour ago. Okay, I'll take a look for it. When you say TMZ posted an hour ago, you talking about they posted it on Twitter, or I have to go to the TMZ website? But I don't know if you noticed, or sometimes Trump requested at the RNC they had all guys SSA. Yeah, I noticed his security detail looked different. It was all guys. They looked, whatever. The lady that was on Trump in the middle when the shooting happened, I heard she was good though. But the one lady that couldn't holster her gun, I was kind of concerned about. It was her and somebody else a little kind of shifty. But, okay. So they lost track of him. And he is then believed to have collected his rifle and killed the other people from his car, which also contained a bulletproof vest and 2 explosive devices. Then about 40 minutes before the shooting, Crooks was back on the Secret Service radar. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing to see, like, how far in advance, like, people were kind of, like, looking at him or noticing some strange shit about him. A photograph showing the sniper appearing to crawl on the ground while scouring the area was circulated to law enforcement as a suspicious sighting at 5:30. Again, the rally started like at 6. I think Trump walked out at 6:05 or something like that. At around 6:11, Crooks took up a position on a slanted roof and shot at Trump from a distance of 165 yards, wounding him in the ear and killing retired Fire Chief Corey Comparator. Witnesses spotted Crooks crawling onto the roof of the American Glass Research Building. A Secret Service counter-sniper team, codenamed Hawkeye, also spotted him looking at their position through the rangefinder. The latest bombshell developments raised more questions about the massive security failure that led to the attempted assassination. Law enforcement took a photo of Crooks an hour before the shooting, adding to the mounting evidence that they knew of his presence well before he pulled the trigger. 2 more newly released images also show a bicycle owned by Crooks that was recovered close to the scene, and a remote detonator which was recovered from his dead body alongside his cell phone. It was later revealed that the detonator was connected to the explosives found in the car. So I don't know if he planned to, was he going to set it off from the roof? Or was he going to try to, I don't know. I wonder where his car was parked. I guess in the parking lot or what? Police personnel, let's see what this is. Oh, this is backpack. The backpack affixed to his bicycle was reportedly related to Crooks' assassination attempt. Oh, so his bike and the backpack right there. I never seen that before, that picture. And his, I guess, cell phone. A remote detonator seen next to Thomas Crooks' cell phone. So, ooh. I never seen this before either. Okay. Who was the woman appearing to yell would be assassin's name? What? Why does a 20-year-old Crooks have 0 social media? Why did Secret Service rip off Trump's shoes? Well, that's easy. I think they already said he was hit so hard the shoes flew off. And he was probably wearing dress socks. Why did the Secret Service allow Crooks to evade them for 3 times before he fired? Who was the woman? Oh, I forgot. Yeah, remember this woman? Who was the one behind Trump and Crooks acting alone? So the Secret Service had, I guess, snipers on these 2 roofs, I guess. It was Trump. They're covering it with this picture, but the water tower is right here on the right side. I've seen some people mention that would have been a really good strategic place. Why didn't they set up anybody by the water tower? No, I don't know. All right, let me check TMZ real quick. I have this one article here. I have something else interesting, too, that we can talk about in a bit. Let's see, TMZ.com. Okay. Thomas Crooks' parents called cops to report him missing. All right, so let's see if they mention an hour before over here. Let's see what they say. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. TMZ Twitter DM. Thank you. I'll check it. Okay, Thomas trying to kill Donald Trump seems to have come out of left field because his parents didn't know where he was that day and called authorities about it. According to Fox News, the mom and dad were looking for the 20-year-old son on Saturday, not long before he showed up in Butler, PA, only to perch himself on the roof. Okay. Thomas's mom and dad reportedly called the authorities about his MIA status, missing in action, before he opened fire at the rally, which left the retired fire chief deceased. Per the outlet, Thomas' parents are now cooperating with the FBI. We know that. Okay. I cannot believe they just left this shit open like that. That's just crazy. Still, Thomas reportedly had every intention of surviving the ambush. As CNN reports, he told coworkers he was coming back on Sunday after requesting Saturday off. Oh, he took off of work for that shit. Allegedly telling them he had something to do. Oh. According to the report, Thomas first raised suspicions 3 hours before the shooting as he entered the security screening area, holding a rangefinder, which is often used by hunters. Okay. We know all this. Okay, I don't see anything about an hour there before. I mean, I believe it, honestly, with all this shit. Let me check Twitter. That's the same article, okay. So we'll see if we find out more about that. We can get a time down on that. I'll briefly touch on this. I found something else interesting that I want to talk about, but the real reason Jack Black was canceled, Jack Black swiftly pulled the plug on Tenacious D's tour in a desperate bid to avoid being ousted from Hollywood and jeopardizing his upcoming movies, an insider has claimed. Why would Hollywood care? They love that shit, no? The School of Rock actor announced on Tuesday the comedy band's tour has been axed and that all their creative plans are on hold after his bandmate Kyle Gass, 64, he wished Donald Trump's would-be assassin had missed. Jack was blindsided by Kyle's comments and quickly scrambled to conduct damage control in order to save himself from career unaliving and derailing his standing in the industry. Jack Black is still best friends with Kyle. He wasn't expecting the jab that Kyle made about Trump, though Jack was surprised by it and even surprised by the reaction. He made sure to get ahead of it. All right, so he already apologized for it. I don't care about this too much, honestly. This is where it happened.
Don't miss Trump next time.
The crowd was loving it. Made a whole post condemning Sunday and violence and all that. But Kyle was dropped by his talent agency, so he got really canceled. Also issued his own statement on Tuesday. The line I improvised on stage Sunday night in Sydney was highly inappropriate, dangerous, and terrible remarks. I don't condone violence of any kind in any form against anyone. What happened was a tragedy, and I'm incredibly sorry for my severe lack of judgment. I profoundly apologize to those I've let down and truly regret any pain I've caused. Jack and his band were on a spicy meatball tour when kicked off in May and was set to wrap up in October. Okay, whatever. So, interesting. He apologized. Now, Dan Bongino was not having it. Dan Bongino says there was supposed to be a tactical team on the roof where Thomas Crooks was shot, but they chose to post up in a second floor window instead.
A high-level source reached out to me last night and said to me that the rooftop that the shooter engaged from as I told you last night during the Tucker Carlson special and then on Don Jr.'s show, was actually supposed to be posted by a local police department or non-Secret Service counter sniper team. So we're clear on the facts. There were 2 counter sniper teams from the Secret Service, 2. Those 2 were assigned to the scene. That rooftop was obviously deemed a threat. It was a line of sight issue. So because they didn't have the assets, and I'll get to why in a few minutes, it involves Dr. Jill Biden, who has an extremely low threat level relative to Donald Trump. This is the breaking news. For some reason, that local police department, this is not about Monday morning quarterbacking, folks. Again, this is not a football game. These are people's lives. For some reason, that local tactical counter sniper team didn't make it to the roof. What I'm hearing from sources is that tactical team positioned it through a second floor window, which cedes the high ground. Now, I wish I wasn't breaking this on my show. The fact that nobody is comfortable talking to the media because they're such insider hacks, they're afraid they're all going to be exposed and they all have to come to me, candidly, folks, is a travesty. But think about what I just told you. For a second, everybody take a pause and a timeout. Think about the multiple security failures here and the lying. There was supposed to be a tactical CS team on that roof. They didn't make it to the roof. They chose a second floor window instead, which cedes the high ground, obviously, and nobody noticed. Nobody noticed that post, that CS post was unmanned. Yeah. Nobody had any idea. Now, this explains a lot. I gotta control the expletives. The bullshit I just said that. The bullshit you're hearing coming out of Secret Service headquarters. Now does it make sense? Did you see a few days ago, and by the way, they're watching right now, make no mistake. Did you see a few days ago, I don't know, about 3-4 days ago, the Secret Service came out with a statement through this PR flack, Guglielmi and others, and these guys should all resign immediately. And did you hear what they said? They did it kind of in a winky nod, sleazy kind of way, where they tried to pawn this off on the local. The local CS team never made it to the roof, counter sniper team. So when the Secret Service got massive backlash for appearing to pawn this off on the locals, even though what they were saying was true, even though it was the Secret Service's responsibility to check that the post was manned, the Secret Service then dialed the story back and said, oh, we're not trying to blame the locals. This is our responsibility. And then when they got backlash for saying, okay, well, if it's your responsibility, why was there no one on the freaking roof? Why was there no one there? What did the Secret Service director say? She came out with this ludicrous absurdity that, I don't know, man, the slope of the roof, we shouldn't be up there. It's like an OSHA violation or something. What, bro? What did you... Let me tell you an OSHA violation. There are things in the motorcade and other security mechanisms we use, I'm sure probably aren't safe to be around. You think I sat there and went, OSHA, can we get a ticket on this item here? You do your job. You do your job and you keep the president alive. That excuse about the slope of the roof is another lie. Are you getting now what's going on? The Secret Service is lying so much and so often to try to cover up this total Charlie Foxtrot, if you know what that means, you military guys out there. They're lying so much that they're forgetting their lies. And they're not savvy enough, like a Jen Psaki, to lie effectively. There was supposed to be a local post. They never showed up, and no one from the Secret Service checked. They never showed up on that roof. Nobody checked. It also explains the possible hesitation by the other CS teams when this guy was encountered on the roof. Maybe they confused him for someone else, thinking it was posted up by locals, and it took maybe a couple.
I thought about that too. Like if they'd seen this person up there and maybe they were confused or mistaken, or like, is that really, like, what's going on here? Someone in the roof type of shit, Like,
couple of seconds to unscrew that.
Was it a friendly?
You're not hearing this anywhere else.
Oh, this was the article that I was. Well, they didn't get fired. Okay, this is what I can kind of confused. Supposedly, it says 2 Pittsburgh motorcycle unit supervisors at the Delhi rally that helped Trump and the people in the stands were just transferred out of their units because they never got permission to assist Trump. Sources told 11 investigates that the bureau claims that they never got permission to assist Trump. The administrative decision made by the chief per the FOP union contract. I'm unable to speak about it. That's crazy if that's true. I don't know about this. People claiming this whole second shooter thing. I don't know what this is. It's gonna.
What happened? Take a look what happened.
Oh, I think that's a guy dropping right there. Yeah.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that either. Oh, this is I haven't watched this yet. This was at the hospital where Trump went. Butler, Pennsylvania captured the moment President Trump arrived to the hospital. You can hear how shook up the people are in the ER room waiting over hearing Donald Trump had been shot.
Somebody get that door open and back in with the back door. Okay, come and open the emergency door as soon as you are.
Who is that? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to.
I kind of read an article the other day too, and I see like the whole hospital I think was like on lockdown.
I see all of the Secret Services.
Oh yeah, we're front row, and my friend saw blood coming out of his head.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is.
There he is. Oh, thank God.
He's walking. He's walking.
Somebody get that door open and back in.
Mamma mia. What is this? Oh, the Watchtower.
I saw a video from Upchurch. You know Upchurch, the country music.
Oh God, I don't think I can play
rap
this.
Singer guy. Right? Saw his video, and I haven't heard this from literally anybody else. And I thought it was kind of odd that nobody else has brought this up. So of all the people to bring this to my attention, it was Upchurch, the country singer. Upchurch. Not the media, not any news outlet. Upchurch brought this to my attention. Okay, so this is approximately where the stage was set up. I mean, from what I can see, it was in between these two buildings, straight out a little ways, probably at that road. Okay? If we go over, let's actually click on this. We're going to click measure distance. We're going to measure, this is the roof. This is the roof where the shooter was, right there. So roughly 150, 860 yards. That's where he was. So I'm going to back out of that. I'm going to try to drop a pin here in the parking lot. So if I open that up, oh wait, no, let's just do this. Do that. If it'll do it, I'm going to click this. Okay, that's the parking lot. So this right here is that roof that the shooter was on. Over here are those three buildings that you can see pretty clearly. I mean, that roof line, the barn that the counter snipers were on,
Vivo?
is, slightly taller than this building here. But what he brought up was back behind all of this. That thing, freaking water tower that nobody was on. Nobody.
We gotta watch this.
Secret Service didn't have that. Like even some guy with binoculars. You don't even need a counter sniper, but you can see literally everything from there, right? I mean, I'm in the parking lot. I don't have a vantage point. I can't see from up there, but I know it's quite taller than even the trees. I don't know. Just seems a little odd that Secret Service didn't even cover that, right?
I guess, yeah. The tower thing's kind of interesting. I don't know. Oh, this is really, really interesting. Check this out. This is like another visualization how close this shot was. It just shows the difference when he turned his head, you know? He would have been dead. That is crazy to see that too. What else we got? Okay, let's take a look at this here. RNC chair Michael Steele demands answers. Says if Trump was shot with a high caliber bullet, there should be very little ear there. Where is the medical report from the hospital or campaign? So was he this guy's suggesting a cover up, I guess. Let's see what he has to say. This is MSNBC.
Night in the Band-Aid. That's fine. Where I am at this point is it's been 3 days going on 4 since this horrific event occurred. A person lost their life, 2 have been severely injured, and yet we've not received a medical report from the hospital, nor have we received a medical report from the campaign or from the Trump organization about the extent of the damage to it.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Why do I have to give you my medical record? What the fuck? Like, who are you, bitch? Like,
is here. If he was shot by
we saw it happen.
A high caliber bullet, there should probably be very little ear there. And so we'd like to know that. Is there cosmetic surgery involved? What is the prognosis for recovery? Were there stitches? What is the extent and nature of the damage to his ear? Was it caused by a bullet as opposed to, as some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter?
So I've heard this going around, this whole, I saw someone on Instagram, like, posting and arguing, and like, no, Trump didn't get shot, and they were saying shards from a teleprompter. One of the things people had said is, hello, the guy Corey's deceased. I thought Corey was kind of like behind Trump somewhere in the bleachers. MSNBC really, really hates Trump. They really whatever. So, but they have this guy in here kind of suggesting, he wants to see the reports, he wants to see the medical records. Trump is going to have to take that patch off and let him get a close look at it or something.
Was some reports from those on the scene, other reporters, saying that it was actually shards of glass from the teleprompter itself, not the bullet. So there are a lot of questions.
And if it was shards, the shards only specifically hit his ear, that corner of his ear?
Around that ear. And yet there's been no response to that. Instead, just showing the image of the man coming into the hall with the wounded ear.
Let me jump in on that.
Politics.
Let me jump in on that, and then we'll continue. We're looking at that photo. Michael Steele is correct. While there is a certain amount of time that could be understandable for any medical scenario, the calls around the current president's medical condition, the questions around his capacity, right, are also the same questions you have in a medical event like.
You're right.
Medical condition, the questions around.
This is the first time you guys, the last month or two, all of a sudden, well, everybody's been, well, not everybody. What most people with common sense could see years before now with Biden. Now all of a sudden, these people have like some type of, I guess they're upset with him, so now they're turning on him. All of a sudden now they can see, oh yeah, it's something, he has some type of issue, or he's getting old or something. He's not as he used to be.
Around his capacity, right, are also the same questions you have in a medical event like this. Certainly the public would want to know as much as possible about both incidents, and the Trump campaign has not been the most transparent. So I think getting medical records and briefing on that at some point would be appropriate. That's what journalists
get Biden's records.
Often ask.
Where's Biden's medical records? All right, Adam Schiff, he's calling for Biden to resign. I haven't looked at the numbers myself. I was watching Kyle Klinsky, and he was saying that, the Trump numbers are up above Biden, even in some swing states. Like I said, I watched some other people that I don't agree with sometimes, just to get their perspective and stuff. And so I saw a video last night.
Guys, my job is to come here and give you numbers, give you facts, give you information, then give you my take on it. That's exactly what we're going to do right here. So this poll spells catastrophe for Joe Biden. This is apocalyptic for Joe Biden. So let's start with this. This is NBC News national poll. Are you satisfied with your party's presidential nominee?
I mean, that was MSNBC. Oof.
Asked
NBC or MSNBC?
NBC News national poll.
NBC.
Are you satisfied with your party's presidential nominee? Asked to Democrats and Republicans. These are registered voters. Look at this. For Democrats, 33% of them are satisfied with Biden. 33. For Republicans, 71% are satisfied with Trump. That means even a lot of the people in the primaries who were like never Trump, they've hopped back on board. 71%. If this was the same as it was during the heat of the primary, it'd be like 55% are satisfied with Trump. No, it's 71%. 2020
Really?
is Trump plus 4. Michigan, Trump plus 2. North Carolina, Trump plus 4. Nevada, Trump plus 4. Nevada, Trump plus 4. Pennsylvania.
And I think they said, did Trump lose Arizona last time?
Plus 4. Dono, which Biden won in 2020.
Yeah.
Is Trump plus 7.
Yeah.
Georgia, which Biden won in 2020, is Trump plus 4. Michigan, Trump.
So he's up, apparently, according to this. So I don't know. So some people are talking about kicking Biden out. I don't,
News. This is coming from Los Angeles Times. When your friends turn against you. So
I mean, they can't make him though, right? If he doesn't want to, they can't make him. They could just tell him, step down, please. But he doesn't have to, right?
California Congressman Adam Schiff has now asked Biden to leave. He's going to kiss up to him, though. Here's the quote. Has been one of the most consequential presidents in our nation's history. His lifetime of service as senator, vice president, and now as president has made our country better. And here's the quote, but, and if it came before the word but, he probably didn't mean it. That's how our language works. But our nation is at a crossroads. A second Trump presidency will undermine, blah, 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 blah. The choice to withdraw from the campaign is President Biden's alone, but...
Oh, yeah, it's Biden.
Schiff believes it's time for Biden to pass the torch.
I think a lot of them kind of want that. They want him to step aside. They're really concerned. So, this is the video that was requested earlier. Let's check this out.
Of the big.
This is a former M16 or M1 or MI6? M16?
Biggest power in the world. So this from very possible candidate to be the next president of the biggest power in the world. So this is, a top VIP, regardless of one's politics. This, from a security perspective. This isn't a minor politician who's just, chatting to a few people. This is somebody of significance. As a result of that, there should not be 1 square inch within the entire vicinity, within that sniper range that I earlier discussed, not 1 entire square inch that isn't known to the security experts, the Secret Service and their affiliates, including local police, etc. So they would have had that whole area completely mapped out, and they'd have, before the event, planned it, drew up mock models of the whole zone, everything, all the different angles, all the different hidden, concealed areas, everything that could potentially constitute a danger. They would have, or should have, covered that in terms of preparation and planning for it, so that if anything happens, including anything, that was perhaps somewhat benign, a car backfiring or something else that could suggest something far worse, they would be prepared for it. And also prepared for other considerations such as crowd control, many people there, and, things that can go wrong with that if there's panic, etc. So everything should have been orchestrated. Everything should have been like clockwork. Everything I've seen in the reports, including the visuals, the videos, etc., suggest everything was not clockwork. By contrast, it was chaotic. and muddled and amateurish. Everything I've described looks muddled and amateurish. The Secret Service reaction time, the fact that a sniper was allowed to get as close as he did onto the roof, the fact that alleged sightings of that gunman that were reported to the police were not reacted to quickly or indeed taken credibly. The very slow pace that Trump was escorted finally off the stage after the shot, after he was hit in the ear. So we're talking, just, an inch or two away from the brain. So he could have been dead. So that lack of speed, that lack of urgency, everything about it. And of course, there are reports that have come out that there were other casualties within the crowd as well. So, what happened there? How are the crowd treated? How are they ushered out? There is an overall sense that this took all of the so-called professionals by surprise. And when it happened, it does not look as though they seem to have some coordinated idea as to what to do.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle.
I did. Now, obviously, those witness comments are anecdotal, and again, the police and the FBI will be judging the credibility of those accounts. But if they're to be believed, then that is remarkable. I saw a video of one witness stating that he and others drew to the attention of a nearby police officer that there was a man, as he described it, bear crawling up the side of a building with a rifle slung on his back. And to use the witness's description, the police officer just sort of looked around and went, where, sort of thing. Now, again, whether that's completely true or whatever, but there do seem to be these accounts coming out that there were reports of a shooter that had made his way onto the roof of that building. And the reaction time, accordingly, was very slow stroke non-existent. If there's report of a shooter in the vicinity, in the target zone...
yeah, I mean... This is just like crazy, dude. Oh, this looks like an interesting video too. 2 police officers phoned into a blanket tactical channel to alert that an armed individual was on the roof moments before Trump was shot. The million-dollar question: why didn't Secret Service rush to protect Trump? Butler town manager Tom Knight says the local police officers who interrupted Thomas Crooks was hanging from the roof after being lifted up by an officer. What? Okay, let's listen to this. Let's check this out for a second.
All law enforcement were notified of a suspicious person somewhere on the grounds. Once the suspicious individual was identified as being in the vicinity of the AGR building, our police, who were primarily assigned to traffic duty and traffic control, did in fact, because of proximity, move towards that building to assist in trying to find and identify, the suspicious person. It's a light manufacturing office building. I'm not aware of a very specific assignment, not being part of the planning meetings, to whether or not anybody was truly assigned, dedicated to not only the building but that immediate grounds. I don't have that answer. One of our police officers,
So this guy is the Butler, Pennsylvania town manager. Defends police amid response misconception.
Long-term, police officer here with our department. Once that suspicious individual report came out and our police arrived, in the immediate area of the building, they did do a perimeter search. Were unable to see the person on top of the building from their vantage point. So one of our other police officers, 2 total, literally boosted one of our police officers up high enough in the air to grab hold of the edge of the roof. Approximate height of 12 feet from ground to where he was able to grab a handhold. Officer pulled himself up to where his head was above the roof. Did observe an individual on the roof. Individual was identified as having a weapon and did point that firearm at our officer.
So that's the whole thing he's talking about, where like I guess somebody had tried to climb up to the roof, and the reports were that the shooter turned around and pointed a gun at the officer.
At that time, our officer took up a defensive position from hanging from a ledge, ducked his head, did in fact lose his grip, fell approximately 8 feet.
Wow.
Did sustain an injury to his ankle. While prone on the ground, both the lifting officer and the prone officer both called in, identifying the individual on the roof as being armed. We did not man the actual entrance gates. I've heard the same story, but I don't have any other information than what's being broadcast right now. I can tell you, if there is none of that spilled over into this building, and none of it's been directed, to our officers.
Was it crazy ass?
There has, to the best of my knowledge, not been any direct communication with members of Secret Service to our officials. There are ongoing interviews with all law enforcement that were at the event, regardless of what their roles were. So we're all just waiting on that information to be all put together into one public report. I think there's some misconception about overall response. I can only speak for our officers transitioning from what was supposed to be a primary traffic control assistance to where it became a person of suspicion or a suspicious person. I think our law enforcement did exactly what training taught them to do, and they did their job. How subsequent events played out, that's another thing for what I hope to be a really complete report on the incident to educate everybody. A gap in time with unknowns, that leads to all the angry emails and calls that township elected officials, myself, and especially the police are receiving. Again, hopefully the report is as timely as possible and given in a way that the public can clearly follow the timelines and how different components happened, and everybody not just learns from it, but just not living in fear, but just living, get away from it. I think I'd welcome any kind of a review that gets benefit, from the outcome. Unfortunate tragedy. Certainly hope that whatever, is out there to be learned from it gets learned, and, we apply that to everything going forward. So I have not been asked any questions. Again, I was more of an administrative support and offered to help with logistics, but I wasn't in any of the actual planning meetings. I wasn't in any of the formulation of an operations report that was, given to our officers, which we generated internally. So I have not been asked any questions. As far as, the overall interviews that I'm aware of that are taking place, that the FBI are spearheading, I think they're all fact-finding from everybody that was involved. My understanding is they're going to take place this week. What the duration is, I don't know. Yeah, so I think the overall operation plan that the Butler Township Police developed for their role in the traffic control, well laid out, well planned.
What?
Intercommunicated with other agencies, that were tasked with the event as a whole.
Well thought out, well planned.
I thought that their response going from traffic control and or potentially patrol into a potential active shooter, kind of a response, spoke well to their training, spoke well to them doing their job. They responded as timely as they were notified, and took probably an unorthodox method of trying to identify anybody on the roof because there wasn't access to it. It is unfortunate that, one officer did get hurt, but I'd like to think that their timely identification helped, minimize as best as possible the overall situation. I can honestly say here right now, I have not seen any type of email and or call-in correspondence that was direct threatening. However, the harshness of criticism from both sides of the spectrum been pretty brutal and relentless. It's been going on for roughly 2 days now. Again, I think when the entirety of the investigation is done and we have the full, complete story of how, this whole event unfolded, hopefully, those that are as quick to send a hate email can send back an apology just as quickly.
Damn, an apology? What?
As quick to send a story of how, this whole event unfolded. Hopefully, those that are as quick to send a hate email can send back an apology.
The hell? Don't you think you're asking for a little too much? Bro, chill. The hell? So the officer climbed up, I guess, the ladder, and the shooter turned around and pointed the gun, and so he kind of defensively moved out of the way. I guess was hanging off of the top, and then fell apparently. Wow. The news about Iran wanting to assassinate Trump was obviously a lie. Listen to this witness from Saturday's Trump rally exposing how the Secret Service left Trump vulnerable the day before. Lori Levy, who has sold merchandise at nearly every Trump rally, was horrified by the glaring security lapses in the event's setup and layout, which this guy claims it was great. Everything was well thought out and planned. She sounded the alarm when she arrived for setup the day before, immediately recognizing something was drastically wrong. Levy revealed, unlike every other rally, the Secret Service had deliberately failed to block an easy long-distance line of sight. It's not even long distance, really, to the president. I had a terrible feeling. I knew something was wrong. I keep waiting for them to fix the basic security problems since there was a direct line of sight to Trump.
Okay. My name is Lori Levi. I'm from Canton, Michigan, and I have been a Trump vendor for way back, ever since 2015. We were at his very first rally in Michigan, and then Iowa, and then it's just kind of expanded from there. We arrived at the location where this rally was going to be Friday morning, as we always come in a day early to check up, and then a lot of times we have a vendor liaison who coordinates where we can set up as far as our tents, tables, so on and so forth. So when we got there early on Friday, we drove into the main entrance and we seen where the Megatrons were. And then it was like...
By this point, how many rallies had you been to?
Probably all but 10 of Trump's rallies. So you'd have to go back and look at that list from 2015. Hundreds. 140, 150. I've lost count by now.
And
I've been in most states.
You were a vendor, so I mean...
A vendor, a merchandise vendor, and I'm a Trump donor. And I also supply Republican offices around the country with high-quality merchandise so that they can be supporting and raising money in order to help get out the vote efforts, help support their local candidates. It's not just about money for me. We've got to get the right people in office. This all started back in 2010 when I ran for office because it was so crazy. And
so typically
in Michigan,
you would show up the night before and get set up?
The day before. Sometimes we would go into the town a day or two early so that we could do roadside, where we could just set up on the side of the road, because people are excited, and especially a little town like this, it's a big deal that the president is coming to their town.
Ooh,
and then so when we pulled into this driveway and seen where they were setting up the Megatrons, I was like, this doesn't look right. And my sister, we call her Donna, she says, what do you mean? I said, something's not right here. This cannot be where they're having him speak. They can't protect him from here. And she's like, well, they will, Secret Service will take care of this. And I just had this terrible feeling. And then
what was your gut telling you?
That just something was off. But what normally happens, sometimes we get there early and everything's not completed. So in every gosh, I can't even think. I'm trying to think of the locations that we've been to, kind of layer to create a line of sight. And
so by line of sight, you mean?
That he is protected from any line of sight. Like, say, if I'm trying to look at that thing over there, I should not be able to see it directly. Same thing, line of sight. I also work church security at our church in Plymouth, Michigan. So those things I pay attention to. I see those, where a lot of times some people wouldn't. It's something we always have to look at. And when you looked at where the rally was with the 2 monitors, the chairs in the middle, I was thinking maybe this was like some kind of VIP, just meet and greet or something, that he wouldn't actually be speaking from there. And then, so, we just went about our business, and I just kept saying, there's something's not right. Where are the tow trucks, the dump trucks? Usually they'll bring in a lot of places, they brought in big gravel trains, road construction, big, heavy trucks that if somebody did try to get a shot off, there's one, you're not going to have a direct line of sight, but 2, you're going to have a darn near impenetrable barrier, we owned a sand and gravel company for years. Those trucks, those boxes are impenetrable.
You want to hear Joe Rogan?
I mean, you're not going to get even a 223 rounds not going to penetrate those, what I would guess. So we just went to where our liaison was. We had a team meeting. Okay, this is what we're going to do in this event. And I even said to him, I said, something's not right with this rally. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, are they just not done? He's like, I don't know, because he works a lot with the campaign directly. And I said, something isn't right how this is set up. They can't protect him from here. And he's like, well, that's above our pay grade. And Secret Service ain't going to even consider listening to a word we have to say, which is, I get it. But after, when I heard the shots, I was walking down Bender Road, just looking to see, who has new stuff out. We kind of do that, and a lot of us are friends. We're associates, we're competitors, but we're also friends. So a lot of times we'll just go talk, and when the rally starts, it obviously, our business we have a lull. So, because everybody's either at the rally or we call it the 4 o'clock rush. Everybody's rushing to get there. They're not going to stop and buy merchandise. So during that time, I was just wandering, and I heard the shots, and knowing, having a security background, I knew it was shots, not fireworks. And I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened? So I kind of ran back to my trailer, and Donna had RSBN app open, and she was watching it, and it's like the president's been shot, and then from there, your mind just goes crazy. But the first thing I thought of when I heard that is I knew it. Something was wrong here.
All right. Chief says, not sure if this is true. Butler Township just came out and said they never had responsibility for the building security, and Secret Service is responsible. I'm not surprised. And Secret Service is pointing the finger at them. So if that's true, yeah, I guess everybody pointing the finger at each other. Let's listen to a little bit of Joe Rogan. He commented on it. I can't show the video. I'm pretty sure that he has this copyright thing. I can play
Joe Rogan experience.
Oh,
speaking of which, how about that president? How about that Trump fella? How crazy is this? If there's ever been a real indication that we're in a simulation, it's like this season of USA is the craziest season that's ever existed. There's so many twists and turns, so many plots, so many villains, so many incompetent, bumbling fools that you're like, there's no way that lady's a heartbeat away from the president. There's
Ashley,
no
thank you so
way.
much.
There's no way someone is not telling her to stop saying that same thing over and over again. What can be unburdened by what has been? Like, she just says it over and over and over again. This isn't real. This is writing. Someone wrote this. It seems like a script.
When a president that is giving a speech gets shot in the ear and then stands up and goes full John Bender at the end of Breakfast Club,
bro, he pumps his fist in the air.
That was a crazy
and
shit.
Says fight, fight, fight. And when the fucking guy who's the photographer is a wizard, that guy who got that photograph, find out his name, because this guy's award-winning photographer.
With the flag above it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the angle that he got it, where he was standing when he took the photo. It's one of the most iconic photos of all time.
He had a GoPro on it while he was doing it. So you
Wow.
can watch him move in position of take it.
Wow, that's nuts, man. That's nuts. Trump's story is right out of a movie. And I'm hoping it's not a Stephen King movie.
This came out while we've been recording.
Secret Service ramped up security after receiving intel of Iranian plot to assassinate Trump. No known connection to shooting. Oh, they ramped that up, and so they ignored the roof 150 yards away?
That make no sense.
There's so many things where you just go, what the fuck?
What the fuck, dude? Yeah. All of it. And there's so much of it that seems fake, like the female Secret Service agent that can't holster her weapon. Have you seen this? She's like moving around all erratically, and she tries to holster her weapon. She can't get it in there, and she can't figure out how to put it in there. And she stops for a minute, and then she just tries back to do it again. And it looks so fake.
Is she an actress?
No, it looks like an actress, though.
Okay.
It looks like if you were going to have a bumbling person in a movie,
weird about that.
like almost like a comedy of errors or a Coen Brothers movie about an assassination attempt on the president. You have this lady. Look here. Watch what her gun. Look. She gets her gun out. She tried to put it in there. She couldn't do it, and she's thinking about putting it back in there. She finally gets it in there. Like the whole thing, it's like look at her fumbling around. The whole thing is crazy. They're erratic movements. No one knows exactly what to do. It seems fake.
Yeah, that's an audition I could nail.
Yeah, it seems like okay. Now you're panicking. You don't know what the fuck is going on. You really shouldn't be here. Go. You're like, where do I put my gun? Like it does. You want Secret Service cool, calm, collected. High ready with the gun, scanning the area, looking left and right.
Yep.
You want them like swift, decisive movements. You don't want to see any of this fucking squirrely trying to put the gun back in. It seems fake.
When you see the Reagan shot, it is just a bunch of people moving as one.
They dive on him. Yeah, bang, dive on him. It almost seems like as this simulation gets further and further along, it gets more and more insane.
Reagan. We watched this the other day.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Reagan
they
shot.
dive. They
Immediately,
dive on the guy.
they got him.
Immediately. They get his gun immediately.
Yeah, we watched that the other day. It's interesting to watch that. The Reagan.
And Reagan survives.
Yeah.
Which is also crazy. The Trump one is just so nuts, too. Like, if he turns his head at the last second and the bullet grazes his ears, if he didn't, it hits the back of his head and he's dead. And then we fall into chaos, and who knows what the fuck happens.
Big chaos.
And then people think that the Biden administration had Trump killed. And then there's these questions, like how the fuck does this 20-year-old kid climb on that roof 150 yards away and no one sees him?
Well, that one guy was pointing at him the whole time.
Yes.
He's like pointing to he's like, he's right there.
And they're yelling, he's got a gun. There's a guy in the prone position on a roof 150 yards away from the former president.
Wait till Joe finds out like that he was there like 3 hours prior in that event, and then he tried to go through the security thing, and he had the finder stuff, and
that the whole thing's nuts. The whole thing stinks of either incompetence or a design or we're in the Matrix. This is a fucking fake movie. It seems like almost to watch this, the most bombastic and manly of presidents, for a lack of a better term, to see him with these two female bumbling Secret Service agents, especially the one, to see that, see everything happen the way it is, to see that they knew this guy was on the roof, to hear that guy had pointed his rifle before that at a cop. So the cop engaged him. He pointed the rifle, and the cop ran away. The guy climbed the roof with a ladder. You can see the ladder. The whole thing is bananas.
Yeah,
he's 20 years old, and then you find out he was in a BlackRock commercial.
Yeah.
Like, is this the Black Mirror? Like, tell me what's going on. Is this real? Is this real? And then Trump goes golfing with a bandage on his ear the next day.
Yeah. And then the putt when he made the putt.
Jesus.
Did you hear?
So they said that's not true the next day. That's an old video.
Quote.
No.
He said, "That's the difference between me and the shooter. I don't miss."
Oh shit!
This isn't a real person.
And then now you have people flooding from the left, being like, "All right,
yeah,
that's a good quote. I'll do this."
There's people that are like, "Okay, he won." Like they've just given in. They're not even going to try to run anybody other than Biden now. They were trying to get Biden out, and now I think they've abandoned that.
Well, I wonder if they're doing the old like train the boxer as a southpaw.
Yeah, I read that golf story too. This is not the first time. There's a lot of golf accounts that put out fake shit.
Oh,
and that.
Jamie, stop ruining our dreams.
I just want to.
You son of a bitch.
That was not seemingly real.
Jamie plays a lot of golf, and he gets very touchy when it comes to golf, and he calls bullshit.
That's fair.
It just came from a Reddit post that people screenshotted. There was no pictures, no nothing else.
Oh, well, touche, young troll. Touche.
It happens a lot.
You got your fucking story mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah. That's me.
You sons of bitches.
You can get me very easily.
I did read that too.
You know, high school, those 10-inch dick guys always getting bullied.
Oh, they're talking about the video that the shooter had. Well, his friend took the video saying that he had that phallus that was big.
Right.
20 years old, and he's got this idea, and he pulls it off. He actually gets a shot off and nicks him, and then they kill him. Like, you're seeing this 20-year-old kid, his life is over. Like, somehow or another, he talked himself into trying to assassinate the president as a lone gunman in Pennsylvania.
Wild, yeah.
Got on top of a roof, either through sheer incompetence or for some other reason. He actually gets a shot off, and the president just moves his head at the right time. Like, the whole thing is, if it was in a movie, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
That'll make you believe in God. That's like God's up there when he's going like, I don't want to talk to this guy yet. He's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want him up here yet. I don't want him. I'm the greatest angel.
Or maybe he wants him here to expose how crazy our political system really is. Because the only way we find out how coordinated everything is, whether you're a Trump fan or not, even if you hate Trump, put that aside for a second and just look at how much coordination there is in the media to go after him, and it exposes like this thing where you have to step back and go, wait a minute, hold on a second, what's really going on? Like, whether you hate that guy or not, hate him, think he's a crook, hate him, think he's a liar, hate him. Don't you think it's weird that they're all in lockstep with the way they talk about him, even with things that aren't true? Like, especially like the Russia collusion hoax that they all talked about for years and years. I thought it was real.
Russia.
I thought like he colluded with Russia, and that was like the crazy thing about him winning the presidency. Oh my God, he worked with Russia. Maybe Russia has something on him. You kept hearing about it, right? That was just bullshit. And they went through that for years and years, and then you start going, okay, what else is coordinated where everybody is saying something? Like, how about the Nord Stream pipeline? You know, Seymour Hersh says we blew it up. Like, esteemed journalist is like, no matter what they say, I am telling you, this was our doing. We blew this up. This wasn't some other country. This wasn't Russia. They wouldn't blow up their own pipeline. We blew it up. But every newspaper is like, this is bullshit. This was impossible. It could not happen. This was Russian disinformation. You hear it about like every story. It's like so hard to understand. Like, what is the motivation to getting these stories out? Are these narratives created by the real government that runs everything and then like tells the news organizations that are in business with them what to say and what to do?
Knows? I mean,
that's where it gets spooky.
You get like, you're voting for a guy who isn't doing much when he gets there. I mean, there's a lot of people around that are making these things. And I will tell you, I still believe some of the Russian shit. Because you've heard me fucking misquote the golf thing. I mean, I still believe a lot of shit I hear.
Oh, I do all the time. They get me all the time. There's so many stories that I'm sure are bullshit that I've parroted.
But if Trump
as far as like the media and the government, I always remember hearing Mark Dice talk about Operation Mockingbird.
For my mother, don't let our future president in the hands of unqualified babysitters. Also, they need to go to the eye doctor, cause Ray Charles could have seen that guy on the roof. Love you, Mel.
Thank you, Job. Appreciate that. Thank you for the 10. Elizabeth, thank you for the 5 memberships. Elvis Girl, thank you for the membership. Queen Ashley, thank you for the 6 months. Says, don't chat much, but always here. Thanks for the coverage, man. Thank you. And I can prep. That was funny. Funny thing, it's not the mugshot or even surviving that makes Trump relatable to black folk, but the level of importance he put on his shoes. Operation Mockingbird, from what I could see here, like a little quick summary. It says here it was a covert U.S. government operation run by the CIA to implant pro-U.S. propaganda in American media and front organizations. Starting in the 1950s, the CIA began to hire and contract students and people in the media to write false stories or embellish stories to favor the U.S. government.
wouldn't play the political game, if he wouldn't put the people on the Supreme Court, I mean, I know it's his job when he's in there, but if he wouldn't do any of that shit, he's definitely the come out on stage and be like waving papers. You guys aren't going to fucking believe this.
Yeah.
And tell everybody everything.
He is, if he wasn't doing that other stuff. But the only way he gets any support is if he does that other stuff too. Like, you got to understand about Trump. He was a lifelong Democrat.
Yeah.
Lifelong. Which is so weird.
Wasn't it when he was starting to run for president, wasn't he still? Like, wasn't he, when he started talking about it?
I believe
was still
so.
a Democrat, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe so. Well, he had a very close relationship with the Clintons to the point where he paid them to come to his wedding. Or his daughter's wedding, or one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, you would pay...
I mean, is that really close, though? You got to
pay them, and they would come to weddings and events, and he would go to events. You know, that was like the famous thing that was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Do you remember that? The White House Press Correspondents' Dinner was always supposed to be this thing where comedians would do it, and they would, like Michelle Wolf did it one year, fucking crushed it.
I remember.
She crushed it.
So hard.
And they would go up, and they would... Trump was, by the way, the first guy to not do it. Like, you're not making fun of me? Which is kind of a pussy move. But every other president got roasted. And one time, during the White House press correspondence thing, Obama went on stage, and he roasted Trump. And one of the lines he said to Trump, he said, "I'm one thing that you'll never be," which is the president of the United States. Because this is when Trump was trying to claim that Obama's from Kenya. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
The birther stuff.
Yeah.
Which is wild. That stuff was wild. You know, he was like saying he knows for sure that Obama came from Kenya, and then there's people that were like examining photoshops of the birth certificate. It was a crazy conspiracy. And that was, you know, he was roasting Trump in the audience, and you could see Trump in his head going, okay, I'm going to fucking run now. Like, that might have been the thing that got him to run. Like, legitimately. That's how.
Wow. All right, let me see if there's anything else. We went through quite a bit today. I am going to timestamp the live stream after. People like the timestamps. Covered a lot of different stuff. Let me see what's going on here in the world of Twitter. I don't even want to look there. Trump releases first major campaign ad after picking J.D. Vance for VP. It will give you chills. All right, let's check it out. Let's see. New ad by Trump. And
left the building. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. Donald Trump wins the presidency. What started off as unlikely, impossible, is now reality.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
We have a president who actually fulfilled the promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive. Breaking news out of Palm Beach,
The FBI has executed an unprecedented search warrant at President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. The former president has both sides of the political aisle up in arms.
It is a dangerous and unstable moment in American history.
The Justice Department has just indicted former President Donald Trump.
For 7 years, they hated him, they targeted him, they hunted him.
This is the epitome of the abuse of the prosecutorial power to preempt political decisions.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never be moving. On November 5th, 2024, justice will be done. We will take back our country, and we will make America great again. America will always rise to every challenge and overcome every danger.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged. These types of things, I think, give him strength.
When I'm reelected, I will totally obliterate the deep state.
Deep state.
As long as we have pride in our beliefs, courage in our convictions, and faith in our God, then we will not
fail.
Okay, that's the new ad. Looks pretty cool. Like I said, I'm very curious for him to speak Thursday. I guess he's gonna speak. We gotta watch that. Definitely check it out. Okay. Oh, hold on. We got a former classmate reveals Crooks' hatred for Trump. Wow. Let's check it out. Finally, some type of insight with this.
Trump.
Let's see.
I brought up the fact that I'm Hispanic and, you know, I'm for Trump. And he said, well, you're Hispanic, so shouldn't you hate Trump? And I was like, no, he's great. I mean, like, he's a great president. And he's, you know, he called me stupid or insinuated that I was stupid. He's like, well, that's kind of stupid. If he was a know-it-all. So, like, once again, if he was passionate about something, he would just talk, and acted like he knew everything, especially politics related. And he would say it in a tone that was like, I'm better than you, in a type of way. And, you know, meanwhile, it's like, dude, we're in the same classes. You know what I mean? We're talking about the same stuff here. And whenever it comes to politics, I mean, at the end of the day, I can agree, you can disagree, I can disagree. We're not even nothing about it, man. Like, at that point, it doesn't matter. At that point, it's, you know what I mean? We're just starting to figure out who we like and all. But, yeah, he was real smug and arrogant whenever he was talking. And whether that was his way to try to make friends or be funny, I don't know. But it got under my skin a lot.
Okay. Let's say former classmate. It's the first person I think I've heard say anything as far as like
I brought up
his political affiliations. Interesting. What the hell is this? All right, let me just do another quick little browse. There's things popping up all the time with this story, more and more coming out. Trump. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we covered a lot today. If anything else pops off, I'll be back. All right, I'll be back if anything. Let's see what you guys are saying. I think we got everything. Oh, that's a good question. Somebody in the chat says, so this dude bullied him. I'm wondering, they should have asked him about that, because one person said he was bullied, then somebody else said that he like was fine and socialized, and I don't know. Now this person's saying that he was political and obnoxious. Oh, there's one more video I forgot to. Another video. Never ends. This is an interesting post on Twitter. World of Twitter. So supposedly, somebody here says, MJ Truth, this does not look good. Multiple eyewitnesses say there was another shooter at the Trump rally. Video 1, lady saw the counter sniper firing down towards the water tower. Video 2, the sharpshooter shot and killed the gentleman in the water tower. What? They got the shooter on the water tower, but wasn't able to immediately get the shooter on the roof, which is why they wanted them to leave immediately. Lady 3 says her kid and daughter-in-law were on the other side of the fence behind them, and she said there was one shooter by the fence, somebody building, and another by the water tower. What?
First crack of the gunfire, and I just screamed, it's the sniper, and he was firing down toward the water tower.
That's what we're hearing.
And yeah, and then at that same exact moment, there was a spray from the right side of the stage that I thought was some type of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or not gas, but smoke. To blind,
sure.
You know, blind up front. But he said it was, he heard it was gunfire, hydraulic on the track. So the gunfire was coming toward the stage.
Wow.
And then a few minutes later, there was a couple more shots down the hill, and that's when they started flooding and pushing everybody out. First crack of the gun.
And then he put the fist bump up, stay strong, and they walked him off.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought this what you just said. I thought it was fireworks, 4th of July. It's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it sounded like. The gentleman behind me, I was one seat, he was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across, Trump turned his head, his ear must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone injured?
And then he put the fist bump up.
And we couldn't call them. And so we started trying to get after them then when they finally let us up. And they had been right by the fence where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence. And still, obviously, initial reports. But what we do know, then we couldn't.
What the? I don't know. I haven't heard about no second shooter. What? I don't know. All right, I'm gonna head out for now, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and make sure you subscribe to the second channel as well for chases and standoffs. Might be back. I'm gonna timestamp this video. All right, peace, love you, bye. Be safe. It's crazy out there. Safe.